Welcome back to a small update video today. As always, we will look, is this now the bottom for AMC? What could happen for GME next week earnings? We will do a tiny update on Beyond, a little bigger update on DJT, and because you wished it, we will look at gold and silver and tiny prediction for SPY for next week. If you're interested, just stay tuned. As always, I am using the Fractal Method. The explanation video will be at the end of the video, or you just search for the Fractal Method on my channel. Well, then let's jump into AMC. And today again, just a little update because not much happened. For the bigger update for price targets, 1-part squeeze, 2-part squeeze, I will link the big update video at the end of the video. Today we will just look what have we done. And without blah, 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 which already starting with the split screen. Yeah, left side is today, right side 1 hour, middle side 1 hour is 2021, and right side on the 1 hour is 2024. So, and the main thing is, I know we broke $1, but it's just a price. Yeah? I didn't like it because I also thought we won't break $1, but yeah. Is this now the bottom? Well, in the best case, yes. But if this is the bottom, I always said in the last weeks, months, rule number 1 is no double bottom for at least a 30 minutes. Yeah, so this is no double bottom. The same like in 21, the same like in 2024. The main second rule is still after the knife to the bottom, we want a fucking V. The same like we did in 2021, the same like we did in 2024. So, thing is, for this to be the bottom, we have to move on Monday. If we see something like this Monday, Tuesday, or something like this Monday, Tuesday, yeah, and of course something like this, yeah, that's not the bottom again. Yeah, in that case we are doing the same like here, we're doing the same like here, we're doing the same like here. Yeah, I know it's boring, it's absolutely shit, but especially for people who are already in the stock. For people who are waiting for it, no financial advice, I would just wait for confirmation. Yeah, because what can we get? Yeah, in the worst, longest possible way, we're doing the V. Maybe this is it. We're doing higher low. Would be something like this. And then we're doing A and pullback. And then we squeeze. Yeah. In the shortest form, we just V like 2024, go to A and pull back then. Yeah. This would be for now, if we do this now, we would go to the 200 EMA, yeah, which is around $2, something like that. Didn't look at it, but some $1.80, $2, something like that. Yeah, pull back and then we go. Yeah. There is no financial advice because I could be wrong, but for me there is no rush to buy every fucking dip. There is just no rush. I see, for me personally, no case that we squeeze from the V because we never did it. Not on AMC, not on GME, not on any other stocks we track. Yeah, we will do some kind of higher low, some kind of A, some kind of confirmation. Yeah. So, yeah, if we move up on Monday, perfect. But I want to see a move up, yeah? Not this bullshit here. Sadly, there's for AMC right now nothing more to say, except one thing. because of the price targets between 50 40 cents, and of course because of reverse split, reverse split, reverse split. Could be wrong, but I don't think so. Yeah. Let's say my lowest price target would be 80 cents. If we really need a strong pullback still, but yeah, just wait. Next one is GME. And for GME, we have more to talk, really more to talk. We also will only look at the end screen here. So if you want the full story, how would the next squeeze look like, price, target, and link from the big video at the end of the video. Today, we just look what we have done. And for GME, we still have 3 versions. I will show every version and also will say to what I'm tending to. We start with the most bearish one, so we get it behind and away. That means we have next week earnings, Tuesday to Wednesday. For the most bearish version, means that this last peak in February the 3rd was our T. What T? I'm talking about the T about this whole section from April 2024, and this whole section is just our micro higher low. For this T, this will be the price target everyone is talking about. Yeah, 18, 17, $15. Why these price targets? For me personally, $17 isn't making sense. Even $18 isn't making sense. Because if we take this bearish route, yeah, if this here was really our T, our target is not 19, 18, or 17. Our target is the 786, and that is 16. Yeah, maybe even 15. Just saying. Yeah, 17 to 18 making no sense for me. Yeah, but could be wrong. For this, if we're taking this route, I would even say we should get this answer at earnings. Why? Let's look what happened on the last earnings. Yeah, here, December, knife. September was a good go up, but here, June, knife. September, no, not September, March, knife. December was good again, but here again, knife. Here again, knife. Yeah. So if we do that, we should get our answer on earnings. Yeah. And to say that, if we do that, 32% is not something which GME can't do. For levels, yeah, because for levels it's quite easy. If you, and there's only one level, if you break $19.63 or only touch it, you will go down. If it's now 18, 17, fine. Yeah. If you do that, my price target would be 15. Yeah. Also to say that that wouldn't be bearish. I mean, okay, yeah, it would be bearish, but at least we would be behind this move then. Because after this move, in my opinion, there's only one way. And that means we go up to A, which is over $26 then, doing the 0.5 pullback or the break and retest, and we are going to squeeze territory. Yeah? So let's see. I still don't think we see that, but if we break this level, yeah. Now to the version I think we will do most likely, and that's still this one. Yeah, that means our low in November 2025 will hold. We already did a small higher low, but all in all, we're doing now the big higher low. In that case, this big higher low is not finished yet, because if you take the fib from your bottom to your peak, your 786 is here around 2085. But to say this, here's our little A, and our A bottom is here at 2050. Yeah. So for me, I think, especially also because of earnings, we will just go down here. Yeah, that's only a 10% move. Yeah, so extreme easily to do for GME. And if we do that, I think we will get this move till next Friday. Yeah, it will start on earnings or already Monday, and we will knife down here. Yeah, here important part is, yeah, you have to bounce around 2050 again, not allowed to break or touch 1962. Yeah, and then we start go up to our A and A pullback. Yeah. Also, one last thing, only because because I will show it later with market reversal, if we do something like this Monday, Tuesday, yeah, there's still a very or even a bigger chance if you run positive green into earnings, that this little run was just our T-then. Yeah, just little warning. Yeah. If I see a run into earnings, no financial advice, but if I see a run into earnings for GME, I maybe even buy puts. Yeah, because this I would really lean more that we really get this move down there. Yeah. This is the most likely for me. And now the absolute bullish version is this one here. And you really have to work for this version. Yeah? That means your low, November, still stays the same. Higher low still stays the same. The only difference is you already broke out and you did your little A. And your little A pullback, and this little A pullback would be finished. If you take the fib from the bottom to the peak, you're bouncing right now at 0.5. That also means from here on, you just go up. Yeah? That means from Monday on, you go up. This would be your little B, little pullback, up to your little C, which is your big A. And then you do the 0.5 pullback. AMC is also finished, squeeze. Yeah? That would be this version. The only thing why I hate this, you have still this big M, and this big M is ending here at this point, March 19. And then you have this tiny T. That's the only way I can put T and M and T. I can't put them anywhere else. Yeah? And there's also no wiggle room here anymore. If you go here lower, no. Yeah, I mean the lowest point you could still go would be 21.87. Yeah, so something like this and bounce here. Okay. But if you go lower, yeah. But for having an absolutely bullish alternative, this would be. And again, also, if you break over $25, so let's say next week we are doing this or we are doing this, and you break over $25, then you can call me shell idiot or whatever, because then every bearish alternative is off the table, in my opinion. Yeah? But for that, you really have to break 25. And even if it's only a wick, but you have to break it. Otherwise, the other two possibilities are still on the table. Yeah? Okay, so much for GME. Next one is Beyond. And for Beyond also today, just a tiny update. If you want the big version, I will link the video at the end of the video. We will just look what we have done. So let's zoom in. So here we also start with the most bearish one, just because it's the most easiest one to show. For this, we also have next week earnings on Wednesday, I think. For the most bearish version, this was T. Yeah, the peak in February was T. Our February the 5th, a low won't hold, and we will knife down. Yeah. The only question is, are we holding October lows or not? And this will take time. I mean, not the knife, but after that you have to do higher, low, and blah 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 blah. This will take time. Can't see it yet, but as an alternative. For levels for this, if you touch or break 64 cents, then this version is the main version. Sadly, you are not allowed to touch this low. Otherwise, this is T. This would be the bear version. Bull version, and I'm really tending to this version. Also, just saying, since Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, we have a little mini market crash, and beyond is pretty good holding. For the bull version, this low will hold February 5th. This thing is just our micro higher low, and I mean the micro higher low for this whole thing. Yeah. Technically, we are completely finished with this thing because, as I'm always saying, higher low is ending under the 786. We are under it, or V under A. We are V under A. And if we want to be really, 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 really bullish, if this is our bottom and we zoom in, you already see we already did a little micro higher low. So in the best case, Monday on, we go up. Yeah? Our target for this, if this low in February is still holding, is still my personal target, no financial advice, April 12 to 23, April 12 to 23rd, is still in the range from A, so, or at least in this range here, yeah, for our A, yeah, around end of April. This date is only holding and only staying if we not touch this low in February 5th. That would be the absolutely bull version. There's also the version we will pull back till earnings. And I say this, normally I would say pulling back into earnings is bullish. I would like that more. It would be just more stress. Because if you look here, you still have a gap open between 66 cents and 65 cents. So it would make sense for me that if we pull back, we will gap fill this. Yeah. If we do that, it would be perfect if we're doing that till Wednesday before earnings. And then on earnings, whatever they announce, we just really start running. Yeah. But the tricky part here is because the gap is filled at 65.37 cents, we are fucking close to the point we are not allowed to touch, because we are not allowed to touch the 64.63 cents. Possible. Less stress would be if we just go up from here. Just saying. Okay. So much for beyond. Next one is DJT. So for DJT, we will do a little bigger update. We just talk about everything today, just because it looks so nice right now. For DJT, again, whenever we are finished here, this whole fractal should be finished. Means the whole thing should start over. We have here our peak, our all-time high. Then we have a nice big lower high. Then we start a nice big midpoint. And right now we are still finishing nice big T. Before we go into micro tracking, after we finished it and found the bottom here, we should do our little higher low, then the big higher low, and then we go into the really big moves. Before we go into the micro tracking here, whenever this bottom is finished, your next little higher low, and I'm talking about the higher low for this section here, yeah, should not go over 17, and it should be right vertical, because if you look back, every move on DJT is always vertical. So I could easily see that we just go vertical to this line and then slowly grinding down. As always, slowly grinding down. But this would only be the micro high low for this section. After that comes the macro high low. And the macro high low would be the last higher low before the big moves. But for this macro higher low, there are two versions. First would be the normal version, would be this. Yeah? Just the higher low of this whole section. You are not allowed to break the main trend line, so something around 32, and then slowly grinding down again. Also here again, the uptrend could be quite straight. Yeah? There's only one other macro higher low you could do, and that's only because the T is too short to touch the main trend line. In that case, there's a pretty good rule where you just connect M with T, and in that case, the macro higher low isn't allowed to break over this trend line. In that case, you won't go over $20-ish, and then slowly grinding down. Whatever we are doing, the big macro higher low or the smaller macro higher low, after that comes A, B, and C. And A is over 60, B is over 80. There's only one thing to say about this, because as always, DJT is moving quite vertical every time. Also here in IPO, here, this candle here is your higher low. And then you just go vertical. So again, I can't rule out that we might don't see A or B. We might just do something stupid like this. Whatever news it will be, but still possible. Okay, now we go into micro tracking. Yeah, and for micro tracking, I really hate myself. Just because in the last weeks we said, okay, we track this as higher low, but I also said we are not allowed to break 980, because if we break 980, this higher low is dead, and this would be T, and we will go down. I also showed that this is a perfect head and shoulders. Left head, left shoulder, head, right shoulder. And in that case, we take from the peak to the break level trend line, and this will be our price target. And I didn't play it. This was the perfect put play. Yeah. If we would have bought puts here in the money, oh my God. I showed it, but I just didn't thought about to play it. Yeah. Is this now the bottom? Well, first of all, rule number one, no double bottom. Rule number two, V out of the bottom. And then we can also look at volume. And well, that's a pretty fucking candle. Knife down on Friday and a massive volume bounce up. Yeah? If we look at volume, which we normally don't do. But yeah, confirmation for this is we're doing now a higher low. What the fuck? No. We're doing now a higher low, which should hold. It doesn't have to be that big, yeah, but just something. And then the bigger higher low, as I showed before, and then we decide if we're doing the big macro higher low or the small higher low. It looks fantastic. Yeah. I also will show with gold and silver and SPY in a second, but I could easily see a market reversal, and so many of our tickers, yeah, except AMC and GME, but all others are in a spot where you would say last week everything looked for a bottom. Yeah. So let's see what happens next week. Okay. Next one is the silver. So for silver, I kinda see a bullish and a bearish case. Yeah, more bullish. Forget the cursors. Just this is only for the side by side. I will show in a second for the big macro tracking. Yeah, you have here in 1917 silver futures. Just saying, you went up to your A, you pulled back to your 7618, bounced. You went up over your A again, then you can take from your low to your peak, your fib again, you went down, bounced under 0.5, so this here is easily your macro B, and now you're going to your macro C. Now the question is, was this already the top? So we start with the bearish version. Yeah? If this was the top, it gets quite messy because then your next target is around 3.4, yeah, or 3,445. Don't thinking that, but if this was the top, yeah, you will do this. Possible. So for the bull version, this wasn't the top. And now we go into the side by side. So here, side by side, both charts, silver futures, both chart on the weekly, just because it's so fucking big. So there could be some after hours candles missing, but for this version, it doesn't mean so much. And we have here 2008 till today, and we have here 1970 to 1975-ish. Yeah? And even with the blank eye, you already maybe could see what I mean. Yeah? Because here, this top in May 2011 was this top. You fall down to your V, to your V. Then you broke up, but you didn't broke over the peak of 2011. This is the same here. You didn't broke the peak of 2017. You pulled back to your green cursor. You broke in a squeeze play up. You went over your peak. And then you did a pullback. And here the interesting part starts, because if we look in 1973, this would be a little A, this would be a little B. Also, if you take from the bottom of your A to the peak of B, you're going back to your 0.5. If we do the same here, we're taking our A bottom to our B peak, our 0.5 would be around 46. So if we're really doing one-to-one the same thing, I would imagine that silver will go down here, same as it did here, but after that, we just go higher. Yeah, massively higher. To say that, because if you can do it yourself, if you look at gold, silver, compared to SPX, also to SPY, you will see at every crash, big crash for SPX, gold and silver also crashed. And for every big move to the upside, gold and silver also move to the upside. This for me, this lie when market is crashing, gold and silver is safe is no. They crash and rise at the same time. Maybe a little bit slower, gold and silver maybe a little bit slower, but the same direction. So yeah, there is a difference between stock market gold and silver and real gold and silver. Okay, there I could agree. But for the stock market gold and silver, I tell you, if the market is crashing, gold and silver is also crashing. The interesting part is, if silver is really doing this shit, yeah, in the next months or years, that would mean there won't be a market crash, in my opinion. Yeah, maybe a mini crash in the next weeks, months, but this is also a market bull run. Yeah, so let's see, could be wrong. Now for gold. Gold, I have something similar than silver, but it's a little bit different. I will come to that in a second. Also here, don't look at the cursors for the macro tracking. We have the same thing. We have our V in 1976. Then we went up to our A, pulled back between the 0.5, 0.618, bounced, and then we went up to our A, to our B. For this case, this wasn't really a 0.5 pullback. And I will show also why. Yeah? So also for gold, in the worst case, this was your peak. And your next target is 254 for gold futures. This is a massive knife. Also, if gold is doing that, we will get a massive market crash. Yeah? There's no way that gold and silver is crashing like that and SPY stays over 400. In in my opinion. But I don't think that. So now for the bullish version, side by side. So gold, futures, left and right, 1 week both. Same thing here. For gold, we have our peak here in 1979 would be this peak. You fell back to your low. Your low in 1976 would be the low of September 1999. Then you went up. If you see here, you break over your last peak. Same here, you broke over your last peak. You make a peak and do a pullback. But gold isn't doing a 0.5 pullback for its B. The same which it didn't back in the 1970s. Was also not 0.5 pullback, same as here. And then you went up. And here is the thing with gold and silver, and especially gold. I think there was always this talk that silver is whatever, undervalued, more shorted like gold, whatever. I really see that silver will get a bigger run than gold. I'm not saying that silver will be worth more, maybe, but percentage-wise, it should get a bigger run. Why? Just because if you look here, yeah, this section here is this section here, but we already broke it. That means, in my opinion, we are right now here in 1979, yeah, here in this pullback, this one. I don't think that this pullback is finished yet, the same as silver, but silver has a way higher goal to go. Yeah. Gold is not at its peak yet. It still should have a good run, but not percentage-wise as high as silver. Also for gold, we don't have fibs. Yeah. We can't measure here anything how low gold can go for this pullback. It shouldn't be that big as a pullback, but because gold is always running with silver, I would say if silver is doing its 0.5 pullback to 45, gold will just bounce at the same time as silver is doing. Yeah, if the tracking is right. But I would see for silver and gold the same thing. Pullback, yes, but for me, run is not over. And also, after we got the peak, this switch, this is coming after that. And wherever the peak is, this is market crash for silver, gold, SPY, NASDAQ, IWM, and the massive one. Yeah? Because, as I said, when gold and silver is crashing, the whole market is crashing too. Okay, then just tiny little look at SPY, because I already said I could see a market reversal. SPY is again in its broadening wedge. And if you look back in the last years for March and April, it's quite consistent that you had a pullback into April, mid-April, and start of April, end of April. For what we're seeing in the last days especially, I see a chance that this Friday here was a bounce, especially was a reversal, especially if we look at volume. Also, like DJT, on Friday at market close, massive green candle. So, okay, if we just gap down on Monday, yeah, shitty, yeah, then we will go lower, of course. If not, I see we may be doing a little micro high low and then go up, or we just go up. Yeah? The thing here is there's one important thing here, and that's the thing. Our target is 680, 690, and there it gets dangerous. Yeah? If we were checked here, somewhere in this range, then this here was the top, this was an L, and this is a middle M, a middle midpoint. If we somewhere reject between 680 and 690, oh my God, the knife we will get after that will be terrible. I mean, depends. If you play puts, it would be good. Yeah? But if you reject here, till end of April, you will see a fucking market crash. And the news will be Trump's fault, war, blah, blah, blah. If you do that, play puts, no financial advice. At the same time, if you come up here, but breaking 690, you will, first of all, will know you will do with a massive volume candle new all-time highs. Yeah? Because the news will be, every short seller was liquidated. Yeah? Maybe even would be so. Yeah? You will, as always, do a breakout retest because new all-time high, so you have to do a breakout retest. But then the bull run starts. Yeah? And the stupid one starts. The key level is you have to break 680, 690. Yeah. So, but especially even if this is true and we're getting a market reversal, that would be also nice for memes, or for most memes. GME, I would still tending to a pullback, but for our normal memes, the Tesla, Neo, DJT, Fusel, and this Friday would have been the bottom, and from next week on we would go up. Let's see. Okay, as always, explanation video here, playlist here, the big video for AMC GME and beyond back here, and as always, if you liked it, you can leave a like. If you want to see more, you can leave an abo, and I wish you a nice weekend. See ya.